I am sat right now in an EVO VII. Now, that might not be a big deal to many people, but to me, it's a big deal. Because number one, I've just bought this car. Number two, I live out in Qatar, in the Middle East, where only left-hand drive cars can be driven here. So owning an EVO VII in a left-hand drive is actually very, very rare, especially in a country like this, where these cars really did not come over in large amounts whatsoever. And the fact is, you can't even import this car unless it is left-hand drive. So you have to find one somewhere in the world, in Europe, and then get it over here. But this car is 20 years old. It's a 2001. And there's no rust on the car. If I was in Europe, if I was back home in the UK, this car might be rusted to hell. There's no rust damage. So I've picked up a car, and I can say there's probably only 4 EVO VIIs in the whole country that are running, including this one. And this car is driving, it's running, it needs plenty of things doing to it. It needs plenty of work. I need to do a timing belt change. I need to check the engine and how well that's running. I need to sort out wiring that's all over the place. The clutch is a mess. The exhaust is too loud. There's rattles everywhere. I mean, the car needs work. But the reality is, I've got an EVO VII. It's got 105,000 kilometers on the clock. It runs, it drives. I don't have a rear view mirror. I need to get one of those. It has modifications on it. It has a large front-mounted intercooler by Perrin. It's got an intake on it. It's full bolt-ons, is what the previous owner said. Full bolt-ons. We've got gauges that don't work because I don't think they're connected properly. But considering it's a 20-year-old car and we're out here and it's rare as hell, it's actually bloody good. Bodywork's a mess. It needs sorting out. But I'm so happy because I've got an EVO VII, which I'm so buzzing about because I owned an EVO VI 14 years ago. It was the best handling car I've ever had. It handled like a dream. And when I had to sell that, I was so gutted. And I couldn't afford to run it anymore. I had to sell it. And, you know, I've got now 20 years on an EVO VII. And I love the shape of the 7. I've never liked the 8 or the 9 much. And you might think, well, why the hell not? But they were too rounded and I just didn't like that roundiness. The EVO VI was kind of very much angular and shark-like. And then the 7 was a perfect kind of, I don't know, a refinement, still with the angles, still with the lines, but just not as, you know, in your face type of body kit style, but just not as in your face. And I love that. And I never thought I'd actually find a 7. And when this one came up in a garage and I went to look at it and there's leaks underneath and all sorts of stuff, I was like, bloody hell, this is actually pretty cheap considering, you know, it's functioning, it's running, there's no rust. Now I've paid approximately UK equivalent £6,500 for this car. And if you live in the UK, you will know that you can't pick up an EVO VII for £6,500. You know, the cheapest ones going that are running well and they're in good condition are anything between £12,000 and £14,000. Now, with this being a left-hand drive, it makes it even more rare because once I've got it up to spec and it's perfect, you know, I could export this out to the, you know, the US or somewhere like that where they want left-hand drive cars. I won't because I'm going to keep it forever because it's an iconic car. And, you know, it's just such an experience being sat back in this cabin. You know, the basicness of everything. You know, the dials, the central locking system. You know, it's just, oh, it's brilliant. And I drove this car back from the garage and, you know, the clutch is an absolute dog. I think there's like a competition clutch. The clutch pedal is so stiff and the biting point is so high. It's a mess, so I need to sort that out. But, you know, the handling and the car's been lowered. It's got coilovers. There's a front strut brace, but they've also put a rear strut brace in at the back. And, you know, the car is a little bit too stiff, I would say. So I want to try and fix all that. I want it to be a nice car to drive and it to perform really well. I want it to sound a bit better. It's too loud at the moment. There's like a straight through 3-inch fucking exhaust system and it's just too loud for my liking. But you know, I've got the car and I'm happy. I would say I'm even more buzzing that I've got an Evo 7 than when I bought the GTR. And the GTR, when it came out in 2009, was a car that I just thought, this is the car I have to have one day. And then I had the GTR and I love that car. And the RS3, love that car. Perfect daily driver. But when I found this, I don't know, something happened. It was like, I'm back. You know? Anyway, I know I'm being a little bit over dramatic here. But yes, guys, Evo 7, I'm going to go through everything that needs to be done. I need to make a checklist of all the things that need to be done. And there are a hell of a lot of things. But, you know, stay with me for the build. It's going to be a sick one. And this car's going to be brought back to its former glory. And I can't wait. I just can't wait. I'll see you soon.